Hello friends, welcome back once again to my channel, Shashwati's Life Skills. In today's video, I will be sharing my experience that I had very recently, and it was very refreshing for me. So I thought, why not share it with every one of you? So today's episode is on podcast. You are all aware what exactly a podcast is, but I'll just tell you in a nutshell what exactly a podcast is. Now, this word podcast, if I break it up into pod and cast, pod is basically derived from the word iPod and cast from broadcast. So, basically, podcast is an audio file which is like a radio broadcast, but this can be transmitted on internet and can also be downloaded. It has also another feature that it can be subscribed and it comes in series. There are many topics or niche from which you can exactly choose what exactly you want to listen according to your requirement, according to your need itself. So since it can be downloaded in your device itself, you can listen to it anywhere at any point of time. There are free contents also which you can actually listen to, and there are a range of topics in podcast. I was also going through a study itself which stated that 49% podcast listening is done at home, 22% while driving, 11% at work, and 8% while exercising. So, podcast is something which is becoming very popular day by day itself, and you can also directly listen to podcast according to your need and requirement. So, I thought, why not actually guide you through how exactly we can create a podcast, how we can have a confidence if I want to actually launch my own podcasting channel, how I can do it, how I can create it, how I can build in my confidence, and there are also earnings associated with the podcast. So, with that, let's start our video today. Since today's video is on podcast, it will be more like that pattern. That means it would basically be an audio. Along with that, you will be seeing some stills, some photographs on podcast. Actually, what would be the step-by-step guide? What are the basic requirements? What exactly we need to do? So it would be like that. The flow would be in that pattern. So let's dive into step-by-step guide. In step-by-step guide, there are 4 steps in creating a podcast. Step number 1, which is pre-production. Pre-production means before production, what exactly we need to work on so that we can go into the main production part. Point number 1, we need to identify the audience for whom we are dedicating or we are making this particular podcast, for whom we will actually run this series. So we need to identify the audience. Point number 2, we need to do research work. A detailed research work is required. And this research work is again divided into 2 parts. Part number 1, which is the format. Now, it would come into your mind what exactly a format is. A format meaning that whether your show would be a single host show or a multiple host show, or will it be a series where you will be taking an interview sort of, or whether you will actually tell something about some thoughts, some ideas, some viewpoints, what exactly your format would be. That you need to decide. Second research that you need to do is on the content part. What content you are going to bring for your audience. You need to identify a niche on which you are going to work. You need to do a research work on that so that you can run the series and convey your thoughts, your process to the whole audience of yours. Once you have decided and done the research, everything, the research work is completed, you move on to the third point. And the third point is script writing. You need to actually write the script, what exactly you need to say in this series, on what basis you're going to talk, so that you do not miss on any point. And it should be done in a chronological way. That means one after the other. It should not be such that you say the third point in the first place and the second point in the last place. It should be step by step. You will be actually running your series. So you need to have a proper written script. Fourth is music and sound. What music you will use, or what sounds will you use to make it interesting, to attract the audience. So depending upon the situation, depending upon your format, you need to identify what music and sound you're going to put into the audio. And for that, you need to actually drill down where to do what you need to place, where you need to place. So that needs to be looked into. Fourth, once you have done everything, now before going into recording, you need to practice. The more you practice, the more it will bring perfection to your podcast. So you will have to practice. You will have to see what value addition you can do in your podcast, in your series, in your talking, in your expression. You need to do all and check so that you are completely ready for your delivery part. Next comes recording part. In recording part, you need to have a good microphone. You can do it with your microphone that is there in your mobile phone, but a microphone in a podcast holds a supreme position. So you need to pay strict attention to your microphone. The more good your microphone would be, the more proper, the more clear, the more clarity would be there in your audio file. Then you need to also identify the audio software basis which you will do the recording. For that also you need to actually do some Googling. You need to also learn how exactly or what software would you be utilizing for your podcast, for recording your podcast. Now coming to the third step. So the first step was pre-production, which you have done. Then once the pre-production is over, you do the recording part. Once the recording is over, you come on to the third part, which is post-production. Post-production is the editing part. That means you have recorded your audio. Now you have to edit. In case if there is any sort of error, you need to remove that error. You need to correct that error. If you need to add music, sounds, wherever it is required, you need to do the editing and add it accordingly in the right place, in the right format, so that it is absolutely flawless and it is perfect. It is in the highest level of perfection. And the fourth level, once the editing is also completed, it is ready to be published. So that is the fourth and the final point which you need to look into, that is publishing or releasing your podcast. Now, when you're recording a podcast for the very first time, you will be facing many challenges in the sense that there would be lack of confidence, because this is something which you are doing for the very first time. You have to actually speak in a series itself. So there will be different types of fear that would be coming. So when there is a fear, there is also a way to overcome the same. And I'm sharing you some tips which will actually help you build up your confidence so that you can give your best and your series becomes a hit. So if you are facing any fear, any lack of confidence, any nervousness, so you practice. Whenever you're coming up with a series, you go on practicing on the same itself, because again, I am reiterating that practice makes one perfect. The more you practice, the more you have confidence in yourself. You record dummy session. You listen to your dummy session. You become your audience. You listen to your dummy sessions, judge it as an audience would judge it. And from there, you can actually come up where to rectify, where to fine tune, so that when you're recording it on the final day, it is perfect and there is no flaw, no mistake. Engage. How to engage your audience? What you can do extra to engage your audience, to attract your audience so that your audience stays and listens to your particular series throughout, and they do not actually stop in between or do not listen to your podcast. So you have to engage your audience. Think of ways what exactly you can do and how exactly you can actually keep them tight, sitting and listening to your podcast. Think about your strengths and positives. What positives you have, what exactly you can give in your series itself, so that your series becomes the best and you can deliver the whole thing with perfection, and your podcast becomes very, very popular. Apart from this, I was also telling that you can actually have some earnings from this podcast also. Like you can have sponsorships, you can do affiliate marketing. So while you're doing a podcast, while you are bringing up new things to the audience, while you are actually doing some interview and all, you can also have this in your podcast so that it becomes interesting. It becomes very attractive for everyone to listen. So this is a very, very attractive part which you can do. And I think I have been able to give you some idea, some outline about podcasting, how step by step you can go, what exactly a format of a podcast would be, or what is the workflow, how you can build in your confidence, how you can have earnings from your podcast. In case if you have any other questions, you can definitely give it in the comment box below. I would be happy to answer your question and I will surely reply back to you. In case if you have any suggestions, that also please mention in the comments. If you have liked the video, give me a like button. If you have still not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel immediately itself. Immediately, please subscribe to my channel. I will be coming up with new videos like this because this was something which actually touched me. I heard a podcast and it was so interesting that I thought that I would actually share it with every one of you, every one of my audience that I have in this particular platform, so that they can also actually, if that interests them, they can also benefit from this. So do subscribe to my channel, hit on the subscribe button and also click on the bell icon so that you get notified immediately when I release a particular video itself. So with that note, I end today's video. Hope you stay safe, stay healthy, stay fit, stay fine. Till the next video, which I'll be coming up very shortly, very quickly. Please do stay tuned to my channel itself. Have a nice day. Bye bye.